Stage 2 of the Tour de la Provence was to take us from Arles to Manosque, over 180 rolling kilometres, 3 categorised climbs were the order of the day, and we had a 5-man breakaway that dominated proceedings. Alexis Gouchard, Tony Hurel, Kevin Besson, Paul Orselin and Esvaldas Siskevicius. The bunch, meanwhile, being controlled by a team that missed out big time yesterday, Cofidis. But the first blood of the day in the King of the Mountains went to Paul Orselin, taking maximum points over the climb of the Col de Mort-Imbert. Meanwhile, behind, with just under 60 kilometres to go, was still Cofidis leading the chase, ably assisted by the Ineos Grenadiers, who still had Filippo Ganna in the lead of this race. Then the first casualty of the breakaway, Siskevicius slipping away on the slopes of the final climb of the day, the Col de l'Ermasco, 6 kilometres long at an average of around 5%. Then it was the turn of Tony Hurel of Saint-Michel-Aubert 93 to get dropped. We only had 3 riders left out in front, and the most strongest of which appeared to be Alexis Gouchard, who continued to pile on the pressure. Eventually, Kevin Besson from Nice Métropole Côte d'Azur was also distanced with about 1 kilometre to go towards the summit, leaving 2 riders out in front, Paul Orselin and Alexis Gouchard. Yesterday's winner, also a casualty. The ferocious pace being set was too much for Elia Viviani, but Luke Rowe, his teammate, dropped back to look after him. He will certainly live to fight another day. Up in front, though, it was Paul Orselin of Total Energies who took maximum points on the top of the Col de l'Ermasco, and in the process moving himself into the lead of the King of the Mountains classification. It was a near miss, though, for Kevin Besson, who nearly came to grief on a corner. He was caught by the peloton, looking round at the same time. He certainly will not do that again. We had around 45 riders in the front group, containing the race leader Filippo Ganna, second overall Julian Alaphilippe, Arnaud Démare was there, Brian Cockard too, Nairo Quintana, most of the overall protagonists. And the next group on the road were consistently losing time. Cofidis were the main aggressors of the day. They really did take the race by the scruff of the neck, whittling the group down on the final climb of the day. And with 17.3 kilometres to go, our 2 leaders were reduced to 1 when Paul Orselin was dropped. Could not keep up with the ferocious tempo being set by Alexis Gouchard, who then had to plough a very lonely furrow, but for a while held the bunch at bay, and the lead hovered at around 50 seconds. Orselin was eventually caught, Cofidis being led there by Victor Lafay, the Giro d'Italia stage winner yesterday, really driving hard. 2.5 kilometres to go, though, and the lead of Gouchard had completely capitulated. There was a surge off the front from Ilan van Wilder of Quickstep Alpha Vinyl. Then it was all back together, heading in to the technical long drag up towards the line. There was an interesting move by Pierre-Luc Perrichon of Cofidis. This, I think, was supposed to be a lead out, but eventually he found himself clear, so confusion briefly reigned with 1,400 metres to go. But he was eventually caught. Sepp van Mark found himself on the front. Lots of furtive looking round. But then the man to take up control on the front of this group was Dries Devenins, who wound things up. The first man to launch his sprint was Pierre Latour. Pierre Latour surging on the right-hand side, but emerging from his slipstream with a crisp delivery of power was Brian Cockard. He was chased by Ganna on the left, Alaphilippe in his slipstream too. But ultimately, the 2 world champions could do nothing about the sprinting prowess of the man from Cofidis, who took the stage. A redemptive ride by Brian Cockard. Congratulations all round there from the world champion. A very sportsmanlike gesture there. So, big smiles there, but what a turn of speed. Nothing anybody could do about the power of Brian Cockard. Delivered perfectly by his team, under a lot of pressure, but managed to deliver on a very difficult uphill finish, in the end taking it by a couple of lengths. Delight all round for the Cofidis team after bitter disappointment yesterday. It was a long grovel to the line, but there it was, 1 arm in the sky and the win in the bag. Confirmation of the win there. Brian Cockard taking victory for Coppice ahead of Julian Alaphilippe, Filippo Ganna, Pierre Latour, Arnaud Démare, Nora Quintana, Mads Versch-Smit, Matteo Jorgensen, Aurélien Parent-Pentre and Lorenzo Marzin rounding out the top 10. So another visit to the podium, the second time in a week after his victory in Étoile de Bessèges. Smiles all round, and as well, I think, a real sense of relief. There is the GC heading into the final stage. Ganna still leads by only 2 seconds ahead of Alaphilippe. Latour in third. Then we have Battistella, Skelmos Jensen, Jorgensen, Bouet, Van Wilder. So please do join us again for the final stage of the Tour de la Provence. We start in Manosque and we move and we finish on the mighty climb of the Montagne de l'Eure that will decide this race.